Who's actually going to get a night sky upgrade from this telescope, and who would be better off putting their money toward a binoculars set or a smartphone camera adapter? Is it a smart buy for the casual backyard stargazer who just wants a glimpse of Orion's belt, or does it belong on a shelf gathering dust because the price doesn't match the everyday payoff? And, of course, does the cost make sense for someone who's only looking for a few clear views a few times a year? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I'm going to walk through exactly why that question matters, based on what you'll actually do with a telescope like this, and where the value really lives beyond the glossy marketing copy. First off, let's talk about the kind of person who usually ends up buying a professional deep space scope without really knowing how they'll use it. It's often a hobbyist who's been watching YouTube videos of nebulae and thinking, I could have that too. The reality, though, is that getting crisp, deep space shots or detailed planetary views requires more than a decent optical tube. It needs a stable mount, precise tracking, and a bit of practice. The ZDJZ-MGZ model promises a quick, no-tool setup and slow-motion controls for smooth tracking, which sounds perfect for a beginner, but you still have to ask yourself how many evenings you'll actually set it up, align it, and let it cool down enough for the optics to settle. If you're the type who pulls out a telescope once a month, maybe for a meteor shower, and otherwise uses a smartphone app to identify constellations, this unit could be a decent middle ground. The Erect image optics mean you won't have to deal with the upside-down view that many refractors give you, which is a real plus when you're also looking at terrestrial subjects like distant hills or a city skyline. The all-coated glass lenses help keep the image bright, and the accessory tray is handy if you're juggling a finderscope, a low-power eyepiece, and a couple of cleaning wipes. In a real-world backyard setting, that convenience translates into spending less time fumbling with parts and more time actually looking up. Now, let's be clear about the limitations. The quick-release attachment and pre-assembled tripod are great for getting the instrument up in 5 minutes, but the tripod itself is fairly lightweight. I've seen it wobble a little when the wind picks up, or when you try to track a slow-moving object across the sky with the slow-motion knobs. For someone who wants a steady, long-exposure shot of the Milky Way, that instability could be a deal-breaker. It's also worth noting that the tracking mechanism, while smooth, isn't motorized. You have to manually turn the knobs to keep an object centered, which can become tiring if you're trying to follow a planet for more than a few minutes. So, who should press add to cart? If you're a beginner who wants a single, all-in-one package that lets you peek at both the stars and the landscape without a steep learning curve, this telescope checks a lot of boxes. It's especially appealing for families who want a shared instrument for backyard camping trips. Kids can look at the moon, parents can spot a distant barn, and everyone gets a hands-on lesson in optics without a heavy mount or a mountain of accessories. The quick setup means you won't need a dedicated telescope night to justify the purchase. A clear Saturday evening is enough. Who should skip it? If you're an advanced amateur astrophotographer, you'll likely find the mount too flimsy and the manual tracking too rudimentary for anything beyond casual viewing. The same goes for anyone living in an area with consistently windy conditions. The lightweight tripod will need extra weight bags or a more robust base to keep the line of sight steady. Also, if you're budgeting strictly and your main goal is occasional stargazing, a good pair of binoculars can give you a surprisingly wide field of view for a fraction of the price, and they're far more portable. Let's dive into a few practical scenarios. Imagine you've just moved to a suburb with a decent backyard and you're excited to finally see the craters on the moon. You unpack the telescope, attach the quick-release mount, and within 10 minutes you're looking at a crisp, upright image of the Sea of Tranquility. The all-coated optics mean the lunar surface looks bright and detailed, and because you don't have to tilt the head to interpret an inverted view, you can easily point out features to a child. That's a real win that you can't quantify in resolution numbers alone. Contrast that with a night when you decide to chase the Orion Nebula. You set up the telescope, align it, and start turning the slow-motion knobs to keep the nebula in the field of view. After a few minutes, the tripod begins to shift just enough that the nebula drifts out of center, forcing you to readjust constantly. The image is still bright, thanks to the coated glass, but the constant